Hi there, my name's Helen Reid. I am the founder of Success by Design, and I am coming to you today because I want to talk about how to interpret a part of your human design chart, which is super important. First of all, if you are catching me on this video for the first time, if you're new to my world, I would love for you to say hi in the comments. Let me know that you're here so that I can welcome you into my world. So today I want to talk about the solar plexus. And if you haven't already got a copy of your human design chart, you can go to mybodygraph.com and enter your birth data and you will get a copy of your chart. Now, when you have your chart, what you want to do is have a look at the brown triangle, the triangle which is on the right hand side. So there's a square at the bottom, then there's a square just up from that, and then to the right there is a triangle, and it's either brown or it's white. This is using the My Body Graph software. So if it is white, that means that your solar plexus center under the human design system is what we call undefined. And what that means is that you are naturally and inherently not an emotional person. And for many people, this is really surprising to hear because they're often labeled as the emotional ones. And I'm going to explain a little bit about why that is. So you've got your chart, you can see that you've got a white solar plexus, so it's undefined. And what that means is that you're open to taking on the emotions that are present in your environment, the emotions that are being experienced by others. So for those that have this center colored in, we call that defined, and that's when this triangle appears brown in the My Body Graph software. And what that means is that they are, having these emotional waves. And the split between the people that have this defined and undefined is about 50-50 in the population. So today we're talking about you with the undefined solar plexus. And so what happens is you go into a room and you can just pick up. This is like the typical empath. You can pick up, you can feel the emotions that are present in the room, the energy that's present in the room. And what happens when you have an undefined solar plexus is that you're not only just taking it on, you're amplifying that energy. That energy that you can pick up on is being amplified through you. And that's why often you might be labeled as being emotional, because it's like you take what you can feel and then it just amplifies. It's just amplified. And then if you're not aware of that and if you don't know what's happening, then you can explode. You can have huge, like a nuclear explosion of emotion because you're not understanding this part of yourself and how it works. So that's what I'm going to explain to you today. I've got my notes here so I don't miss anything. So what happens is that not only are you picking up on the emotions that are around you today and yesterday and, in the recent past and carrying those with you, but also if you haven't been processing them, then you'll be carrying them, because don't forget that emotions are energy in motion. Emotion, energy in motion. Emotions want to move. And as someone with an undefined solar plexus, you are here to help that energy move. You're here to facilitate the moving of those energies, the moving of those emotions. And it's not only the stuff that's happening now, it's the stuff that has happened, for generations. Because let's not forget that epigenetics is very clearly showing us now that emotional energies are being passed down through the genes. So historically, it has not been acceptable to show emotions, to feel emotions, to express emotions. We're in a new time in history now where this is the work to do. Learning how to be with our emotions, learning how to manage our emotions, learning how to allow that energy to move through us in a healthy way. That is the next stage of the human evolution. And that is where we are right now. So the fact that you have a whole load of emotional baggage right now that you're carrying, because in the past you picked up on emotions, you've had emotions passed down through your genetics, and you're carrying a lot of those emotions. So even though you're not necessarily having your own emotional waves, you have managed to accumulate a lot of emotional energy in your energy body, in your energy system, which then it creates situations which trigger you, which provoke an emotional reaction in your body. And as that happens, that's an invitation for you to process. That's an invitation for you to be with these energies, be with these parts of yourself. And so there's the historic stuff, which is being with the emotions that you are carrying in your body. And then there's the aspect of picking up on emotions that are happening in your environment and in your relationships and the people that are around you. So because you have this really important role, you have this role which is to help and support the emotional beings that are experiencing the intensity of their own emotional waves. Your role is to hold space, to be that supportive person that holds space and facilitates the graceful processing and releasing of these energies which are coming up in order to help us as a collective, us as a human species to evolve to the next level of our growth. So it's really, really important and really, really exciting. I have this center Undefined. So I know what it's like to feel that when I go away from everywhere and everyone, and I go and be by myself, I am able to reset. And I invite you to do this. It's a really important part of looking after your own emotional health, is to take yourself away, reset, empty out, allow yourself to really have a cleanse of other people's energies, other people's emotions. Allow all of that energy to be released so that you can reset, come back to your unique essence. Because if you don't take the time to do that and you have an undefined solar plexus, you're going to find that you're going to get really easily depleted and even burnt out, because this energy wants to move through you, and if it keeps getting stuck in you, it's going to overwhelm you. And when a lot of stagnant emotional energy builds up in your system, you get to the stage where you're literally, bubbling at breaking point. And then when something comes to challenge you, there's no capacity there. There's no capacity there to be able to handle difficult situations. And that's when the explosion happens. So what you'll find is that as you start this process, it might feel pretty intense, because every time you process an emotion, every time you move through whatever is coming up to be moved and expressed and let go, it'll feel like they're coming thick and fast. Like, okay, I've done that, now I've got another one coming. Especially if you're a mum, you've got children with you, a lot of the day. That's an intense opportunity for a whole load of clearing out, because our children are really here to really accelerate this evolution process in terms of the emotional health of humans. And that's why they're coming in with such intense emotions. That's why they're coming in with this uncompromising attitude that they will not let go until you learn how to manage your emotions in a healthy way. That's what they're here to teach us first and foremost. And it can be so hard, but once you allow yourself to open yourself up to it and really embrace this process and clear some of the backlog of stagnant energy, which at the beginning can feel really intense and it can feel like it's just kind of relentless, the more that you do it and the more that you practice it, the more that you'll find that it'll start to ease, and the time in between those clearings will extend and they'll become less frequent. So it's not something that is going to keep going at that level of intensity forever, but once you begin to become aware of it and start the process, it is likely to be quite an intensive process at the beginning. So it's really important to be aware of that so that you're not put off, because if you suddenly get hit with a whole load of emotional processing, you could think, oh, I'm going back to my old ways because this is too much for me. Whereas if you know that this is clearing the backlog, this is clearing generations worth of emotional suppressing of emotions, going back generations upon generations upon generations. And we in this generation, we get to draw a line in the sand. We get to do things differently. We get to experience emotional freedom. That is, for me, it's mind-blowing. For me, this is the best, this is the best. I am so blessed that I am alive right now, that I get to do this work, that I get to share this work, that I get to, that my children and me get to learn together how to do this. And, they teach me so much every day about how incredibly well they're able to process their emotions. Children are amazing. If we allow them to do it, if we allow them to really embrace how they're feeling, process it and let go, they do it with so much grace. We can learn so much from our kids because they haven't been conditioned out of it. They haven't been told that their emotions are wrong necessarily. And if that is something that they've been told, they can easily remember. If you were to start allowing them to experience those big feelings, the anger, the guilt, the fear, the disappointment, if you were able to let them experience those feelings, then they will easily remember how to do it. For adults, it takes a little bit more time. It takes a little bit more practice because we are so conditioned to distract ourselves. We're so conditioned to suppress how we're feeling and numb out on social media, numb out on with emotional eating, drugs, alcohol, Netflix, you name it, we are programmed to do it. So becoming aware of that is really important, especially with this undefined solar plexus. So how do you do it? How do you process these emotions? Well, this is trial and error. This is about finding the way that you want to process these emotions, the way that your essence wants you to move this energy, to move through these emotions. Something that one of my mentors has recommended, which I love, is when you're starting to feel an energy, an emotion rising, knowing, first of all, that it's a gift because it's there to facilitate a release, to allow you to expand into more light and more love, to evolve, to grow, to remember who you are at a deeper level. So first of all, it's always a gift. A negative emotion, it's always a gift. And even using the word negative, it's misleading, because if those emotions weren't there for us to navigate, we wouldn't be able to expand. We wouldn't be able to evolve. They are they're the windows, the doors, the gateways to our next level of evolution. So they're to be welcomed, they're to be embraced, they're to be allowed. In terms of anger, pillow punching, going out into a field, screaming into a pillow, allowing yourself to feel the emotions. And you might find that you need to take yourself away from your kids. You might find that they want to witness you expressing your anger so that they can see that it's safe, so that they can see that it's healthy, so that they can see that it's normal. It's a normal, standard human emotion, and it's not wrong and it's not bad. And allowing that energy to move through often facilitates the most incredible expansion and the most incredible gateway to new ideas and inspiration and creativity. And it's just incredible once we allow the natural process that was always intended to unfold. The other thing that you can do is when you feel the emotion rising, to imagine that you have this emotional grid of energy around you, almost like your aura, and to consciously expand that grid. And I like to see it expanding up into the universe and also down into the ground. And the idea is that you are going to set the intention to expand that emotional grid to the size that you can easily and gracefully integrate now in this moment. And then as you do that, as you expand that emotional grid, what happens is you dilute the emotion that is coming up. So this isn't about taking yourself away from the emotion. This isn't about distracting yourself. This is about allowing it to become more manageable, because it doesn't feel like it's taking up so much space in your field, and then remaining with it, sticking with it, being with the emotion, giving it your loving presence. Just as a mother would nurse her baby, would hold her baby if she's crying, he or she was crying, and there's no time limit to the amount of time that mother would hold that baby with her loving presence. It's like that energy. And you're doing it not to get rid of the emotion. You're doing it because you consciously want to expand into more love. You consciously want to spend more time in the energy of love. You consciously want to choose love over fear. And so as you do this process, go through this process, be with your emotions, with this loving presence, with no expectation, just being in the energy of love, then you transform that energy so quickly when you're not in a rush to get rid of it, and when you're not resisting the fact that it's there in the first place. I cannot tell you how life-changing this process is. So I would love for you to share how you get on. It's just incredible how expanding your emotional grid, expanding your field can just transform the way that the level of capacity that you have to deal with the situation, the trigger, whatever it is that's happening, that's right in front of you. It's mind-blowing. Okay, and finally, the other thing to say is that when you're in the presence of somebody who has, and I always recommend, if you have kids, if you have partners, also look up their human design, get to know their human design, and in particular look at whether they have a defined or an undefined solar plexus. Because if you have children, for example, or a partner that has a defined solar plexus, they will need to really ride their emotional wave. And when they're in their emotional wave, they're so intensively focused on being in their emotions and riding their emotions that they cannot see what's going on. You, as the outsider with the undefined solar plexus, you can probably see exactly what's caused it. You can probably see exactly what they need in order to move through it with grace. But they are not going to want to hear what you have to say until they've ridden their wave. So this is just an invitation to let the people who have defined solar plexuses to ride their wave, hold space for them energetically, like we've talked about, but really, I invite you to resist the temptation to talk to them during that time, to offer your insights, to offer your wisdom, to help them, understand why they're feeling like this and what they can do to feel better. Because it's not going to help the situation. It's going to intensify and amplify their resistance to any emotions that are trying to move through them. Whereas you can be so supportive of them by going through the energetic process that we've just talked about. So that is my invitation to you, to really lean into your role, that supportive role, and know that the emotions that you're experiencing, either they've been handed down through the generations, they're not really anything to do with what's happening now. The trigger is provoking this reaction in you because those old traumas, those old emotions, they want to come up to be released. And that's what's happening. And that these emotions they're not you. They're not something that needs to be identified with you as a person, as a soul, but they are here to help you grow. They are here to help you expand, and they're a beautiful, beautiful gift. So I invite you to look at your emotions in that way and to use the incredible undefined solar plexus in your design to support yourself and to support the collective, those around you, your friends and your family. Okay, so I would love to hear how you get on with this process, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.